Hello, students. Welcome back from the Eid break. I hope you had a good one. Terribly sorry I couldn't be with you today. Over break, I may have gotten into a small auto accident, and my wife broke her collarbone. So instead of being with you, I am at home taking care of my wife, making sandwiches and things. You want to say hi?
Hey everyone.
Yep, there she is, just to prove that she's hurt. I am fine. I could have come in today, but I love her slightly more than I love you, so I am at home taking care of her so I can make her sandwiches and do the dishes and other such things. So, you're going to behave super well for your substitute. Here's what you're going to be doing today. First of all, we're going to take a short round of notes. Whoops, where's my pen? We're going to take a short round of notes. Pen's not working. Next, you are going to do a little ticket out the door. And finally, you're going to start working on some homework or classwork. That very last bullet point there won't be due until Monday. You'll have Thursday and Friday to work with it. I'll give you another assignment tomorrow. Anyway, we'll talk more about that when the time comes. We're starting out with some notes. So hopefully your lovely substitute passed out to you this awesome little half sheet notes paper. Yeah, I just didn't want to make you have to draw a graph, and today's notes are like extremely simplistic, and so I just figured I would write out the notes for you. So today what we're looking at is we're going to be representing functions in multiple different ways. If you remember on Friday, this was a really long time ago, but we learned about some different words. We learned about input, output. We learned about the word domain. We learned about functions. We learned about how to make a table. And today, basically, we're going to be putting that all together, and we're also going to be graphing these things. This is more review for you. I wanted to let you know that this is the last new section, even though it's technically a review section, but it's the last one that will happen before the test. And your test is going to be sometime next week. I think I scheduled it for Tuesday. So get ready for a test Tuesday of next week. So let's get right into these notes. Okay, so we have a domain of 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And hopefully you took notes on this on Friday and you remember that domain means X. It also means input. Those are all synonyms. And so what I want to do is, for this first task, for making a table, I want to input the X and see what I get out for Y. So I'm going to be putting in 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's my domain. It's my inputs. I'm going to be putting them in for X and seeing what I get out for Y. So let's do this very quickly. First of all, plugging in 3, we have 2 times 3, which is 6, minus 5, which is 1. Next, we're plugging in 4. 2 times 4 is 8, minus 5 is 3. Next is 2 times 5, which is 10, minus 5 is 5. Next is 2 times 6, minus 5. 2 times 6 is 12, minus 5 is 7. Now hopefully you guys are noticing a pattern here. Do you notice a pattern in what's happening with the y's? You might be able to predict what's going to happen next. I'm predicting 9. See if you can figure out why I'm predicting 9, and let's just see if it works out that way. So when I plug in 7, 2 times 7 is 14, minus 5 is 9. Magic. Whoa, did you figure out the pattern? Basically, like, it just so happens that the y's are adding 2 each time, and that just so happens to be because there's a 2 up here in my equation multiplying the x, but we'll talk about that in due time. That's a couple chapters down the road. For now, just know how to make a table by plugging in the domain. Now we also talked about some input-output variables last time. Remember, that was where you saw this sort of situation where you had like an input and then you had a bubble and you had a little output and a bubble. And in the input bubble, there were different things that I was putting in. So this is obviously the 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then in the output bubble, there were things that I'm getting out. So that's obviously 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. And there were just arrows drawn, what goes to what. We already figured out that when I put 3 into the function, that gives me an output of 1. When I put 4 into the function, that gives me an output of 3, and so on. I put these all in a nice line. So my input-output bubbles look kind of boring, but it just tells me which input goes to which output. Now, here's the sort of new stuff, although again, you've seen this before. I want to make a graph, and in order to make a graph, it's very helpful to have some ordered pairs. So let's start with the ordered pairs part first, and then we're going to go to a graph. If you remember, an ordered pair is just an x and a y. Basically, I'm just saying, hey, here's one output, and sorry, because the x is the input, here's one input, and the output it matches with. So in order to make the ordered pairs for my example, all I have to do is look up at the table and find which x matches with which y. So let's look at the first one. Well, my x would be 3 and my y would be 1. So that's an ordered pair, and it tells me, hey, when I put in 3, I get out 1. Every mathematician knows that to be the case. So for the ordered pairs, all I need to do is list them all. The next one would be 4, 3. The next one is 5, 5. The next one is 6, 7. And the last one is 7, 9. All right, and those are my ordered pairs. If I wanted to, I could box that answer. Those are all my ordered pairs, and again, I just ripped them straight out of the table. The last task we have is to graph. Now, if you remember, the x-axis is the horizontal one, and the y-axis is the vertical one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each of these ordered pairs, and I know that the x comes first. So if we're looking at 3, 1, I'm going over, starting from the origin. Don't know if you remember, but this is called the origin. Starting from the origin, I'm counting over 1, 2, 3, and going up 1. And that's 3, 1, because I went 3 to the right and 1 up. Okay. Let's graph the next one, which is 4, 3. So again, we're going over 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1, 2, 3. Some people like to think about the analogy of getting in an elevator. As you're getting in an elevator, you need to walk horizontally into it, and then the elevator takes you vertically up. So let's think about that when we graph this next one. Over 5, I have to walk 5 paces forward to get into the elevator. Now I'm inside, and the elevator is going to take me 5 floors up. Here we go. Oops, I went too high. 5 floors up would be right here. And there's my point. Over 5, up 5. And I think you get the point right now. Math humor's the worst. So going over 6, up 7 puts me here. And finally going over 7, up 9 puts me here. Did you get the one about the point? I liked it. All right, well, that's all the notes we have for today. Pretty easy, right? Just remember, in the rest of class, you have 2 tasks left. Your first task is you need to complete this ticket out the door. Now, what a ticket out the door means, and your substitute should be passing it out to you after we get done watching this video. The ticket out the door means that literally to exit class today, you need to hand to the substitute this ticket out. I then am going to get them when I come back to school on Monday, and I am going to grade them, and yes, I will grade them for correctness. So what I want you to do is I want you to do a really, really good job on this ticket out. I use it to see if you understood the lesson, and that's why I grade it for correctness. This will go into like the daily question category probably, or maybe like the classwork category in your grade book. So it's a very small grade, but do a good job on it because I am grading it for correctness. As always with classwork, you are allowed to talk to people. You're allowed to ask the teacher for questions. You are not allowed to get up and walk around the room. You are not allowed to change seats. Stay in your assigned seat. Just talk to people around you. You have plenty of friends. When you are done with the ticket out the door and you have turned it in, you can start back on the homework/classwork. The reason I've called this homework/classwork is because it is classwork for today. You can work on it for today. I will give you more time to work on it tomorrow, but there will be an additional assignment tomorrow. And then if you don't get this done in class, it is due on Monday when I get back. As always, I want you to know what you are doing as you go. So on Google Classroom, there is a nice announcement that you may have seen me make last night, which says, hey guys, here's some stuff. And this Algebra 1 chapter review solutions is on there for you. So if you click on it on your cell phones, it will bring up the solutions. And I want you to look at those as you go through so that you know what you're doing. So there are the solutions. Phones are totally okay today. Get them out, get out the solutions, make sure you know what's going on. If you're still not in Google Classroom, what are you doing with your life? This was due like last week, 2 weeks ago, I think, on Friday. Get in Google Classroom. Holy cow. Like, here's the code. I'll put it up real quick. If you want to pause the video, you can. There you go. All right. The assignment is there for you. Let me put that back up as well so that if you want to pause the video there, you can get it down. Otherwise, I will see you back on Monday because that's when I will have decided that my wife can take care of herself. So work well, make the sub, give a good report so that I can be happy with you guys. But I know that you work well. Prove it.